Hello and welcome back to the SQL video series on how to get started with SQL. In this video tutorial, I'm going to talk about the limit and fetch first statements. Um, the limit and fetch first statements are important to know while you are performing a select query to return records, and then you would like to add some specification to the number of records or any conditionality to those not to those records that are being returned to you onto your table. And what I mean by that is that, as you know, that I've been using this select statement very commonly when I need to bring everything from this word indicator table for my demonstrations, right? So what if I tell you that actually you don't have to perform this, especially with pgadmin. You don't have to write a statement to bring everything from a table onto your table output here. What if I tell you that you can actually easily go to your table, whichever table it is, go to your table that you're interested in to view on your output, right click on it, and then click on view edit data, and then click on all rows, which means all of the data. And you click on it, and then you're going to get everything just like we did here with the select statement for all of the data from the work indicator. We could do that the same thing using the manual, command drop down menu command here by viewing editing data on all rows. There is something that's different here in the SQL that is shown here. That's produced from our action command of viewing all of the data. Is that by default it captured the prefix of the schema, which is okay. And then something else it has done is that it ordered the table by the country ID, and it sorted it by the ascending form. So that's something that we don't do it while we run ours. However, SQL, when you don't specify an order by clause, then by default it sorts or orders your table, that the column of the table by the ascending order. Um, so that was that's cool to know. So you don't have to run a select command each time you want to bring your table. There are a couple other easily done queries, select queries. For example, the first 100 rows. Now this is going to return the first 100 rows. Now you should be asking, like, why the first 100 rows? How does pgadmin know which first 100 rows? Are these the first 100 rows that are just placed there randomly, or is there a parameter or some sort of conditionality that that specifies each row, as that quantify each rows in terms of numbers, and then it selects those first 100 numbers? Yes, exactly right. So what it does is, as you can see, it's important for you to know the order of operation, especially when you're writing scripts, regardless of what language you use. So the order of operation here is that it's selecting everything from the table, but then it's ordering it by country ID and ascending for form. And then once it does that, it performs a limit of 100 on it. So it tells, give me the first 100. Give me the first 100 that's on the table. And which, since it's ascending, the first 100 is going to be those numbers that are lower from those below them. So then you're going to get the first 100 records or rows that are that start from the lowest one all the way to 100. And that's because we added there's a limit of 100. Now something else is available, the last 100 rows. So uh, you know uh, easily. Each time you want to do, if you want to check your table, you don't have to, you don't have to write a statement to bring your table. You can just simply use this. Now, this last 100 rows, same concept, except that this time the order by is going to be changed to descending. And I just explained, SQL is smart, but not smart enough to give you the last. So what's going to happen is, the statement, the command itself, the logic itself orders the table by the country ID, by this column, and the descending form, and then it performs the action, the expression or the clause of limit to bring the first 100 for you. So once your data is spread and sorted by descending order, then the first 100 rows will be the first 100 rows that have the highest number. So that's what the logic is behind the limit, especially when you're using it by using it through the drop down command that's available in pgadmin. And then you have the filter rows, which is another functionality where you can add additional conditionality clauses and expressions here while you're performing a select query. But we can also do that inside the query tab here. Uh, okay, so now you should be asking that what if I want to look at not the 100, what if I want to look at 5 or 7? And that's why I was saying earlier that the limit statement actually makes that possible for you. It optimizes it streamlines it allows you the flexibility to be able to modify those number of records that you're limiting the table to. So, and the way it works is I'm going to start with the syntax. The way you're going to write select everything, and then from word indicator, which is the table name, and then you're going to add the order by clause. It's important to put the order by clause because you're limiting the number of records, but you don't know what side should it limit to, from the upper side, limiting the highest part of the table, or should it limit it by the lowest part of the table. So that's why it's important for you to specify the order of the table before you even perform any, before you even think about limiting, bringing or selecting certain records or limiting certain records on your output. So order by, and we need to say country ID, and we put um, ascending, which is already ascending. And then lastly, we're going to say limit, and this time let's say we put 8. So we're going to do exactly what you would do here using the drop-down menu to say first 100 rows, except that now we have added 8 and we modified the 100 to 8. And let's go ahead and run this. You're going to see that now we can see the first 8, which is ascending, right? So we're going to see the first 8 rows of records on our table. Now we can do the same thing to actually get the last 8, right? This one, not the last 100 rows, now the last 8. How do we do that? Same thing as I said earlier. The order of operation is that we are ascending them, we're sorting them before we limit them. So we're going to change this to DESC. So remember, DESC is the keyword for descending. So ASC is ascending, DEC is descending. So we're saying select everything, all the columns from the word indicator table, and then order them by the country ID in descending form, and then limit them by 8. Now you're going to see that it's going to be flipped. We're going to see the highest numbers now here showing. Let's go ahead and do it, and there you go. So start from the highest number going toward the lowest. Why? Because we changed it from ascending to descending. So that was the limit and the limit in the first part of the tutorial. Remember that while you writing top or limit or fetch first or row number clauses and statements, make sure that you're sure that your database system supports those clauses, because depending on the database system, some databases these sorts of clauses or just these sorts of commands are unknown to them, new to them, so you will get error when you run them. So make sure that you do your research before using them. And it doesn't mean that just because that database system does not support it, it doesn't mean that that functionality is not available in that database. So there are ways that you can work around that, meaning you can find the equivalent of that statement or that query in other in the database that you would like to perform it in. It won't be very highly different, but there will be small um, tweaks in the actual syntax that you need to update it with before applying it on a certain database. So fetch first is pretty much the same kind of close to limit, except that it has a little bit of additional specification. Uh, it gives you additional specification liberty while you're doing the select statement. So let's go ahead and look at an example. So we're going to select everything from the work indicator, and this is fetching, so remember. And then we're going to say fetch first 3 rows only. Now you're going to see that this is going to fetch the first 3 rows only. So it doesn't matter if, let's say, if the first 3 rows were let's say the first row, the country ID was, let's say, 100, or the second one was 60. It doesn't matter. The order of the column is not important, but it's fetching whatever is available on the first 3 rows, and these are what we see on the first 3 rows. And regardless of any sorting or ordering of any of the columns, it's just going to capture, right? It's going to fetch those rows for you, however number of rows that you specify here, those will be fetched based off that number. So let's say if we say 4, right? Let's say 5, and you're going to see that those 5 numbers will be fetched and put on your output. And again, it's irrelevant with the ordering of the columns and that kind of stuff, as you had just like you had to do it with the limit. With the limit, you had to specify ascending and descending order of your column, but with the fetch you don't have to do that. You can also, let's say, add additional where clauses when you're doing fetching, or when you're doing limits. Let's say, for example, with the fetching, you want to only look at the first, or you want to like first fetch the first 3 rows where, let's say, the region is the Caribbean, right? Let's do that. So select, and this is the beauty of SQL, that you can add clauses on top of other clauses based on your needs. So if you see the need of adding a conditional where clause on your statement, and by all means go ahead and do that, as long as it meets what you're trying to attain. So we're going to add, so the order of the clauses is that before you add the fetch clause, make sure that you add the where clause. So we say where the region is Caribbean. I hope I spelled it right. And then say fetch the first, let's say, 3 rows only. All right, so we're doing the same thing we did here. This time we have added a where clause to specify to introduce a conditionality to our select query. Let's go ahead and run this. And so it's telling me that uh, oh, I forgot to add the world indicator. So yeah, sometimes when you're in a hurry, you forget the most important things. And there you go. There you go. These are 3 rows that we fetched from the table, where Caribbean is the region for these 3, and we fetched the first 3 rows based off that. And again, I repeated so many times, repeat again, the first is not anything related to any order that you assign. It's those numbers that come first on the table. Some tables have their own order regardless of any order that we introduce to it. Let's say we have a table that where all of the columns are character values. Let's say ABC, ABC, ABC. How are we going to order those? So tables come with their own inherent orders, and that's where fetch comes, because fetch is just grabbing those records or those rows for you based on their positions on the table, regardless of their number. If this 11 was here, it will still come. Let's say if this was number 1000, but its location was here, it doesn't matter. It would still be coming there. Why? Because its position is on the top of the table, if it makes sense. That is it. I'm going to also run one more select statement using for limit. This time I'm going to add the where clause for limit to show you how you can also uh, select uh, retrieve data output using a where clause, but also with the limit command. So let's go ahead and do that. Select everything from work indicator. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you put on the same line, but it's a good practice to keep in a separate line. It really helps me. So, and then we're going to add the conditionality and say where the country is, uh, where the region is. Do we have Asia? I'm not sure. Asia, and then lastly, we're going to say limit 3. And so let's see, go ahead and run it. There you go. So as you can see, uh, we were able to do that, and because by default it's ascending, it given us the those three records rows where the Asia is a region, and there are 3. So let's just do 6 in this time. See if I don't think we have 6 countries with Asia's region. Nope, they do have. Um, so as you can see, I need to now specify the order for the country ID before running it. And we're going to say AC, ascending, and run it this time. All right, so it's telling me that near where. Oops, I'm supposed to put the order by after the where clause. There you go. So now we performed earlier. We performed earlier with no introduction of ordering. Now we have the order by introduction, and we did ascending. So now we have the first 6. It's not 6 because we don't have 6 records, but let's say just put 3. The first 3 records where where the table is ordered by ascending form. Obviously, and this is just a quick start for you, but it should definitely give you lots of directions and to actually get some stuff done, as well as it's a good starting point for you to explore these functionality to more details. If you see value in this tutorial, please appreciate it by liking or sharing my YouTube channel. And as always, thank you for watching it. Until next time, have a great day.